Okay, we are now in the Pirkei Siyum, in the concluding chapter or chapters of the Sefer. We've spent now over a year on Shearim Betefila, and we're probably going to spend another month or so doing this section. But it is a special time to arrive at this juncture. It means we've put in a lot of effort into this book, and it really is very special to me that this group and different members of this group have contributed to the conversation and contributed to the meaning and the growth that we've experienced together. So I'm very excited to now come to the conclusion. Misora Tefila Das. The foundation of Tefila is to know She'ein Tefila Miuchadet Rak L'Shlosh Pamim B'Yom. Really, Tefila is only special for 3 times a day. Elahu Yisod B'Tochnit Le'etzem Tzurat Chai Yehudi. Yes, it's an activity you engage in 3 times a day, but it's also emblematic of the essence of what it means to be a Jew. To live natural life with God, mefurash bepasuk, because it says in the pasuk, Ki goy umi gadol asher lo elokim krovim elav kashem elokim b'chol korenu elav. Who is the nation that is so lucky to be so close with God that they call it to God whenever they want? Shezo ikar tzuras Yehudi. This is the essence of the form of a Jew. Ma shechai v'karov tamed l'Hashem yisparach. That the Jew is always close with God. That's why the Torah in Torah and Tanakh is compared to a wedding. Is the connection between a husband and wife. We are married to Kadosh Baruch Hu, just as marriage is not an event. I don't know how they translate that, but Elazui Surat HaChaim, the form of life, Hanashachayim Yachad B'Shutfus. It's a new life. In other words, a definition of life together, as opposed to the fact that you happen to share one aspect of your life together, right? Like this one likes skiing, and the other one enjoys computer programming, and they happen to have this area in their life in their concentric circles where it overlaps. They both sit on the couch and watch 60 Minutes on Sunday night. That's what they do. That's the part of life where they join together. So no, it's that they now have a new life b'shutfus. There's more than just a mutual commonality. When God is with us, at all moments when we call out to him, everything great, everything small, as if he is engaged and being mitapel in every single topic that we are involved in. Second paragraph, it says by Yosef, and the master saw that Yosef had God on his side. He was a blessed boy, right? Everything he did turned to gold. And Mefarish Rashi, Shem Shamayim Shagur B'Piv, that the name of heaven was fluent in his mouth. You want to know if someone is sincerely connected? Do they invoke the name of God regularly? They thank Hashem when something goes well. They dive into Hashem when they're in crisis, right? It's the first thing that goes through their mind when they have turbulence in an airplane is to say the Shema, not something else, right? This is what they're thinking about. So Shagur B'Piv means that Shem Shamayim is fluent. V'medrash milachash v'nilachesh v'nichnas milachesh v'yotze. He'd be walking around talking about Hashem, whispering, right? Talking about Kadosh Baruch Hu all day long. Hava Omar Leim Mazog Rotchin Vahayu Rotchin Mizug Mazog Rotchin. You pour hot. Rotchin Poshrin, Rotchin, Poshrin, Vayu Poshrin. You poured hot, it was hot. You poured warm, it was warm.
So if his master told him to pour hot water, it will be hot. If he has to pour lukewarm, it will be lukewarm.
So there's an exact connection or resemblance of what the master asks. We saw that whatever he was doing, he was living with God. God was with him. He was like a child who walked with his father in a dark room. Shemirov pachado ochez chazak biyad aviv. He holds strong to his hand, his father's hand. Vein manicho l'rega. He doesn't let him go for a single moment. Lachein hakol tzliach biyado b'shlemus. Therefore, he's always successful. Shaydei tefila hatmidit hayakadosh baruch hu tamid karov elav. God was always close to him because he's always davening. Ve'omer l'tzido le'afilu rega echad levad. V'chein tzricha kach tzricha liot darko shel adam kodam b'omazeh. So a person who's constantly talking to God, constantly with God, so that person will always be successful. The root of Yosef's success, as was apparent to Potiphar, was that he was always with God. And that's really what tefillah is. Tefillah is not just a thing you do a few times a day. It is an awareness that God is constantly with you. Shabbos, Yud, now he quotes the Gemara in Shabbos. Rava chazio le Rav Hamnuna de kamarich betzlusei. Rava saw Rav Hamnuna was spending a long time on his Shemona Esrei. So he turned to him and said, no. What did you do? Amar, he said to him, Manichin chaye olam ve'oskin b'chay shah. You are putting aside the chaye olam, the everlasting life, and you're engaging in this temporary life. Ve'usavar zman tefillah chud v'zman Torah l'chud. So he thought, well, by engaging in davening, you're worrying about your life right now, your parnasa, your health, all those things, and you're forgetting about Chai Olam, which is Torah. So why are you engaging in why are you being ma'arich betfila? Why are you schlepping out your Shemona Esrei? And what was the svara of Rav Hamnuna? What was Rav Hamnuna's idea? He said that Zman Tefillah Chod and Zman Torah Chod, there were two separate times. Torah nikras Chai Olam, Tefillah nikras Chai Shah. The implication is that Torah is everlasting life and Tefillah is only this life. Hakavana tefillah hi chaye olam hazeh, pnimit hachayim hamitim she'olam hazeh is the inner truth of the truthful life of this world. The tefillah eina rak achas mitoch klal ha'maisim hakadoshim she'osim al mashach yimei chayev. It's one of those things that you do, the holy things you do in this lifetime. Etzem tzuras hachayim atzmim be'olamenu, but it's part of our life in this world. Vad kama shekarov ha'adam l'tefillah kachu chay be'emes b'olamo. The more you are a davener, right? The more you daven, the more you live a real life in this world, but you're very much in this world, right? That's the claim about tefillah. Tefillah is a this worldly engagement, but it's the holiest thing you could do. Kimoha Torah, I don't think this fits with everything we've said in the Sefer, but it certainly is one mahalach. Torah nikras chayei olam, but Torah is called the other world, right? The world to come. Dima shalom dim Torah ba'olam haba, and a kamal ba'olam hazeh. Because what you're learning Torah in the world to come is not like this world, where you designate time in this life to go to work, time to eat, time to sleep, and time to learn Torah, right? Just as you dedicate your makdish certain hours for Torah study. But rather, the essence of living in the next world is the existence of Torah. Study of Torah is the experience of closeness to God. And now he's quoting from Chaim Volozhiner in Nefesh HaChaim. Torah da kod shabrichu v'chol etzem etzius olam haba kifi ma shekana lo adam Torah b'olam hazeh kach mamash midazu hareyu chai v'chayim b'olam haba. The Torah is the essence of the experience of godliness in the next world, and to the extent that you pour over its origins and you study Torah in this world, you will experience in that measure in the world to come. So when we are studying Torah right now, what we're doing is we are experiencing Mein Olam Haba. It's like Shabbos in a sense. Valosa Mishkal, that cheshbon, that Mishkal weight, that's what tefillah is in this world. As long as you're doing tefillah in this all the time, you're living the best religious life in this world. So he's spinning it for a positive. He's saying that the best way to be connected to God in this world is tefillah. The best way to be connected to God in the next world is Torah. And let's understand to see what is God for a Jew. He is the one who teaches Torah to the Jewish people. That's the verse we say. Hamalamei Torah lamo Yisrael in the bracha. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, Shearim mi necha ka'achli. In Shir Hashirim, who do we describe him? Like a sibling. Ba'atara sha'atara lo imo. But the crown that the mother gave us, Zed dodi v'zeh rei. Roi, this is my beloved, and this is my friend, my lover. So we have this idea, my shepherd, right? So we have this idea of the relationship to God is, on the one hand, described as the Malamed, the teacher. He is our father. He was our king. He is a brother, crowned by the mother, right? This is my beloved, and there's a like a loving relationship. Kadosh Baruch Hu Harav Shalano, he's our Rebbe, Ha'aba, Ha'ima, Ha'ach, Hadod, he is the mother, the father, the brother, the uncle. Dod is beloved, but it means uncle. Also, it used to be that uncles and nieces would get married. That's an old tradition. The Gemara in Yevamos in the first half is talking about that a lot. But that was like it. But that was more of a standard type of thing years ago. I mean, if you had a much younger sibling, and an older child, so it from an age standpoint, it would make sense. From having to find a shidduch, it's a little easier. Knowing who the family is, it's easier. Can't guarantee they're not gonna, grow like a third arm out of the back of the
medical.
What?
They didn't know the medical side.
Right. It's not exactly inbred, but it's close enough. So anyway, ha'ima ach hadod, and then there's a reya, a friend, right? So God is all those things to us. He's and sometimes we invoke our tati, our father. Sometimes we need a teacher. Sometimes we need beloved, right? Someone who loves us. Sometimes we need a neighbor, like a friend. All those things are true about Hashem. And by the way, the ach is also interesting because a sibling relationship is different than all the others. All of this is an existence that is obvious, is simple and felt. We experience all of these relationships through prayer. Yeah.
Something about the paragraph before where it says that we learn Torah in this world, and I'm not sure what it is for the next world. It says, so does that mean that the Torah learning is still there for you in the Olam Haba?
Two things about it. We said number one is that Torah is the way we experience kirva to Kadosh Baruch Hu in Olam Haba. It's the way we experience closeness to God in Olam Haba. Number two is that the Torah we study here is chai v'kayam b'Olam Haba. It will continue to exist for us there.
It's a merit for you.
Right. If you have a really strong davening, it's not like that impacts your Olam Haba. Is what we're saying. That impacts you, the extent to which God is felt in your presence in this life right now. Which, by the way, might inspire you to a life of Torah and mitzvos, which is what you build up for the next world. But tefillah itself is about a closeness and awareness of God. Adah lifnei mi'ata omed. It's not like if I daven now I get points. Although tefillah b'tzibur, davening 3 times a day is a mitzvah itself, like as any mitzvah you do. Yeah.
Oh, that's like what we were saying before. So tefillah is for you, and Torah is.
That's what he meant, but that's what he's explaining in that Gemara. It's a difficult Gemara otherwise, because how is he criticizing Rav Nun and saying you're forsaking the world to come for this world? The guy's davening. It's not like he's even going to the casino.
Right.
So we have to understand that one's about this world, one's about the next. Okay. So that's what the language of tefillah means. L'zednikras tefillah lashon hitchabrut. Tefillah means to connect. Sha'idei tefillah mitchaber ha'adam beboro bechol inyan b'chayav. A person connects in every aspect of their life. B'chayav al admut, in their life on this earth. V'zeu sh'amar David HaMelech. It's interesting. Someone who pointed out recently that of all the words for I forget who said this, but all the words for man, right? All of them have plural except for ish. except for Adam, rather. Ish is anashim, right? Gever is gvarim. Adam is the only one that's singular. And someone was saying that the idea that atem nikra, that you are called Adam, right? Jewish people are called Adam is an interesting formulation. Is that even when we are, there is no plural for us. We're all one. That was the formulation by Israel. Anyway, so this was said over by I think it was Rav Chaim. I think it was Rav Chaim Volozhin pointed, not Rav Chaim Volozhin. I'm blanking on who said it. But during it couldn't be Rav Chaim Volozhin, but during the Dreyfus affair, you had Jews around the world petitioning and praying. So one of the rabbis famous rabbis pointed out that that's the word. What it means that we're called Adam is that it didn't make sense that everyone all over the world was sort of trying to connect to this story, even though they weren't really connected to this person, because there was a sense of oneness. Anyway, tefillah is lashon hischabros. When you engage in prayer, you're connecting. You're connecting every part of your life with God. I am prayer. He was so engaged in his prayer that his whole life turned into a prayer. He was living on a prayer. Nimtzah hu atzmo. It seems that he himself was a chefsa shel tefillah. He was an object of prayer. V'zeu konim be'ikar ayidei haregel pam achar pam hergel pam achar pam ad shemitragel l'kadosh baruch hu karov elav yoter mikol echad. This is how regular activity of repetitive tefillah makes it a reality. Gives you a kinyan. You now have a lasting, permanent relationship. You turn into prayer. Okay. If you look at the second chapter of Nehemiah, it says, "Vayomer li hamelech, what do you request? And I'll dive into Hashem, the master, the God of heavens. Im al hamelech tov. Sounds like Esther, right? Vim yitav avdecho lefanecha. And if the servant will be good before you, asher tashilcheni el Yehuda ir kivrot avotai ve'evnena. What's the request? He says, let me go back to the land of my fathers and rebuild it. Between each word, so the Medrash says that something interesting happened. That between each word that he said to the king, he davened to God. So that's what it is. Each word he's inserting God into each word. Imagine you're speaking to your friend. Between each word, as if you're turning to yourself and you're checking with yourself, what are you saying? Like you think the person is not 100% there. In between each word that they're having in a conversation with a fellow, they are turning to themselves. Even though he's speaking to his friend, what is he doing? He's looking at his phone. But he's really close with himself. He's checking in with himself. Are these the words that I want to say? Right? What do I say next? Does this make sense? Even though Nehemiah was making a request from Daryavish, the king, still God was closer with him in reality. The Hergel and the fact that he was a regular resident in God's house. He was a regular conversationalist with Hashem. It turns all your activities in life into a prayer. He is a prayer now. He's talking to the king, but really he's talking to God. Even though obvious ones. To truthful life, kedoshim, holy life, with substance, and you merit to divine help from heaven. In every place you're free. And he turns into an object and a person that's totally different by invoking God in every part of his conversation. So tefillah transforms the person. That's the first idea we're going to summarize. Tefillah transforms this life, this world. Tefillah is not just an activity you do periodically. It transforms everything you do in this world, and that you are a constant expression of tefillah is the goal. Again, that's summary number one. Any questions before we go on to base?
I just have it's not really related. Is Daryavish a Jewish king?
Yeah, well, he is the descendant of he's the descendant of Esther, right?
Oh, is he the one that we said that he,
It's Esther's son, right? Esther's
so he said.
no, that's Koresh, that's
his-
Cyrus. Cyrus, Darius. Well, there's two Dariuses. There's two or three.
Is that the one that wasn't that rabbi, I guess rabbi was speaking and he said